Thank you for tuning in. Today, we are going to talk a little bit about confidence building. Part of confidence building is introducing new objects to your dog. This is a part of confidence building or socialization skills that your dog will learn either as a puppy or an adult. It's not related to age. It is something that happens throughout the dog's lives. Some dogs will go through fear periods in their lives, and you'll see an increase in needing to be very supportive of them. And other dogs are just naturally fearful of things. So this is something we can be fearful of. This is objects that they can be fearful of can be man-made or they can be natural. I've seen this as a new object coming into the house, or I've also seen this as, a stick laying on the ground, something that's not there all the time. Sometimes it could be something like a dead fish or, an acorn, just anything. So what we're going to talk about a little bit today is how to work on this at home. And at home, it's very easy to work on this. You're in a controlled setting and you're able to do this. It takes a couple seconds. I'm going to show you some video clips. They're on average of 18 to 20 seconds long, so not much time at all. To do this at home, you want to take an object that the dog is unfamiliar with and place it on the floor. If you know your dog is already hesitant or fearful of an object, you can also use that object. I would start with at least one object that they're just kind of unfamiliar with, so they understand the process. They understand, they get that trust in you. But yes, definitely if they are fearful of a certain object already, then you can use that. And actually in these demonstration videos, I used an object that my guys are all fearful of. So we'll talk about that. You want to praise the dog when they start moving towards the object. So you don't hold back your praise. You want to praise them right away. The more fearful the dog, the longer it'll take to get to the object. You'll be seeing more body language that they are fearful. And you want to praise them as they come forward. As they approach the object, you want to amp your praise up. So even if they don't touch it, that's fine. If they only want to get, within a foot of it, and through their body language, they're going to tell you they're close enough, still amp up your praise. That's a good job, right? That's building up their confidence. The dog will tell you through body language that they have approached as close as they would like to approach. Don't force them to go beyond that. That is the end of that particular session. So you don't ever want to force a dog to approach an object outside of their comfort zone. When you start forcing dogs like this, that kind of erases what you have done in the past, and that almost takes them back 2 steps. So you want to keep them going forward. You don't want to go forward a step, go back 2. So you don't ever want to force a dog to approach an object that they are fearful of. If you are working on this outside and on a leash, you want to give them a very soft leash. So you want to hold it, but not be restraining them in any way. But you don't ever want to pull them over to an object. What I'm doing here is in the house, so there's no leashes involved. We have the first video here. This is my blooper, but you will see how we do this. So I kept this video in here because of what it shows, right? Very quick, like I said before, a couple seconds. There's no fear or anxiety about the object being placed on the rug. I used a roll of duct tape, something I just had laying around. You could see the expression on their faces is kind of like, why did you do that? There's no point. We don't understand, right? And then when the big dog came over to me, he didn't hesitate it. He didn't pause, but he just kind of, walked over and walked around the object. So there's no pause there, right? There's no actual hesitation. He kind of sniffed it just to be like, maybe there's a treat in there, but maybe not. We'll just take a quick sniff, right? No, nothing to go on with that. In the second video, though, I used an object that they are fearful of already. And I will show you this video. So you can see here how there was a hesitation for all the dogs to approach the object. This object is an air cleaner for a camera. Sometimes I call it air blower, power blower, whatever. It's just a big bulb that you squeeze and it pushes air through. All of my dogs are hesitant of this. They've always have been. So if you notice the back dog, she refused to approach the object at all. And when the other dog started walking, she walked around, and if she could have arced around it, she would have. She got as close to the bookcase as she could to come over to me. Okay, so that is okay, right? Not forcing her. The other dog approached very slowly. Now, if your dog is more fearful than this, these are adult dogs that I demonstrate with often. So your dog will probably approach even slower. I'm going to tell you that right now. But he showed curiousness, right? So he's fearful, but he's curious about what I put down. So you want to look at the body language. The slow walk, his tail was down, but not tucked. But it was still, right? He had his weight on the back legs. So he was ready to turn in another direction right away. And his ears were up. Now, the reason why his ears were up is because he was using all of his senses to try to figure out what this object was. He was listening for any sounds that it might be making. He was sniffing. You can visibly see him sniffing in the video. He was definitely looking at it. All eyes were on it. All attention was on it. And then finally, he touched it. Okay, this is very common for dogs. If your dog is even more fearful, then you might see stuff like the very slow walk. They might crouch down to the ground. Their tail might be actually tucked in a little bit. They will still have their weight on their back legs. And that is because if that object happens to move at any time, they want to be able to move. They want to be able to change direction and take off. So their weight is going to be on their back legs for this reason. Their ears, now, if they are truly fearful, their ears more than likely will be back a little bit. If they have some curiosity about them, then their ears are going to be a little bit more forward. It is all okay. No matter what type of, or I should say, how fearful the dog is of this object, the method is the same. You still want to praise as soon as the dog starts coming towards the object. So after they notice it and they start taking a step forward. Now, if a dog is extremely fearful, they might not want to take a step forward. But as soon as they notice it and make any type of movement, whether it be their ears or they start sniffing, praise them. That's going to be as close as they're getting that at that particular time. So, okay, that's as close as they get. You pick the object up, you move it away, and you try again in a while. You don't want to force them. You don't want to do it rapidly. But you do want to repeat until they can come up to it and get used to it. So here's the last little video that I have, and this is take 2. And the one dog in here is just learning. She's a recent rescue, and so we will see her reaction. So you see how they're fearful. So the praise as soon as she started towards it, and then you saw that I praised them both when they both came up to it. Because I was praising her for coming up to it first, I went and praised her first each time, but she still came up to it. Now, here at the very end of the video where it stopped, you can see that she did not pass that object to come over to me like the other dog, but that's okay. We will work on this a couple more times, and I'm sure she will gain the confidence to actually step over or walk around it. So those are the last videos. Let me stop sharing my screen here. Those are the last videos that I have, but I'm hoping that this helps kind of explain how to introduce your dog or your puppy to a new object, and how to praise them for it and to gain confidence. And what this does, like I said, is it gains confidence in the dog, and it also helps with the trust building because they are understanding that whatever you are putting down there, that it's going to be okay. And if you're praising them for going towards it, then it should be okay. So there's a trust building aspect to this as well. But thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time for the next installment. Thank you.